Hi everybody, I am Seunghye Sun, Director of Korean Culture Center. Today, I have a special guest. I am very honored to have architect Kang DaeHwa as the series of Korean Culture Now 2024. Today, we are going to talk about the beauty of Korean architecture. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's really my pleasure to be here to talk about Korean architecture. Hello, my name is DaeHwa Kang. I'm an architect based in London for the last 20 years. I was born in Korea. I was educated in the United States. And here I am in London doing projects in London, in the Middle East, and also in the Far East, including Korea. I'm speaking in English to reach a broader audience among our European and American colleagues. But of course, my heart belongs in Korea, so I'll try and fit in a little bit of Korean if I can, here and there. 안녕하세요. 건축가 강대화입니다. 한국에서 태어나고 미국에서 자르고 영국에서 지난 20년 동안 지금 활동하면서 영국, 중동, 한국에 지금 설계하고 공사를 지금 하고 있는 중입니다.
한국어에서 느껴지는 그 어떤 깊은 울림이 지금 느껴졌습니다.
아, 네. 네. 참, 우리 가족이랑 얘기할 때,
네.
사실은 우리 와이프분은 제가 한국어로 말할 때하고 영어하고 말할 때는 퍼스널리티가 완전히 달라진대요. 그래서
네.
자기는 사실
네.
제가 이제 한국말 하는 것만 너무 좋아하고, 영어를 할 때는, 왜 이렇게 막 딱딱하고, 막 어그레시브하냐고, 막 그러면서,
네.
한국말은 좀 약간 부드러운 정서가 있다는, 저런 느낌? 그리고 저도 이제 한국어로 제대로 된 교육을 못 받았으니까, 그래서 조금 더 이제 순수한, 그냥 뜻만 전할 수 있는 약간의 그런 느낌이에요, 저는. 네.
그럼 얘기 들어가기에 앞서서 조금 어린 시절에서 한국에서 언제 태어나셔서 어떻게 미국에 가셔서 어떤 삶의 좀 과정을 듣고 싶습니다.
네, 부산에 태어나고요. 2살 때 미국으로 이민 갔습니다. 부모님들이 이제 공부하러 가셨는데,
네.
오레곤주 서부에 산하고 바다 사이에 그냥 자르면서 어린 시절 거기서 보내고요. 그리고 이제 대학교 갈 때는 이제 그 동부, 프린스턴 대학교하고 예일 대학교에서 이제 학부 석사 건축 공부를 했습니다.
네. 그러면 미국에서 하셨는데 그러면은 그 다음에 또 한국에 가실 기회가 있으셨을까요?
네, 아무래도 집에서는 이제 한국말을 많이 썼지만 그래도 이제 그 대학교 다니고 나서는 아무래도 이제 한국 문화에 대해서 조금 더 많이 배우고 싶어서
네.
이제 기회를 잡아가지고 한국에 1년 동안 강사로 갔습니다. 그래서 우연히 그게 이제 경주, 경주를 가게 됐습니다.
그러면 여기서 제가 이제 첫 번째 질문을 이제 드리고 싶습니다. 그래서 How do you think about the essence, the most important core of Korean architecture in UK or in United States or all over the world?
Yeah, I think when we think about Korea, the most important thing for me is to understand its culture. And it's and the power that Korean culture and society has today. Right now, as we know, for those of us in London, we've seen the Hallyu exhibition at the V&A Museum, and hugely successful. And one of the things really is that Korean architecture does not stand alone. So we have architecture within the broader context, Korean technology, Korean car design, Korean food design, music, film, drama. And architecture is one piece of that great wave that's going across the world right now. So it's really clear to me that there's a huge amount of interest in Korean culture. And that means that there are a lot of people who are interested in Korean architecture. So for people like that, if they want to get deeper into what is it about Korean architecture, then I think we have to think about what is it about Korean society, because Korean architecture, just like Korean society, has two very strong contrasts for me. So one thing, I don't know if you feel this, but for me, Korea has really a very big contrast between the old history and the future. And the history is so historical and the future is so futuristic. And in history, it's being close to nature, it's being very calm, it is about really ancient values. But then the future is all about dynamism and creativity and reinventing constantly. So I think Korean architecture has maybe both of those.
Both of those.
Yeah.
And really, I totally agree with your idea. So sometimes I can call it dynamics of change because Korea in architecture, including just architecture and other Korean cultures, and have both. Very traditional and very old tradition, and there is something very new and technologically and cutting edge one. Can you just take some more examples you can contrast and something traditional architecture and very new or kind of contemporary architecture in your mind?
Yes, absolutely. So when I think about Korean architecture, the first thing that comes to mind is 25 years ago when I went and I lived in Gyeongju.
Gyeongju.
And that was the ancient capital of Korea. For 1,000 years, it was the capital of Silla dynasty. And I just think about the sun rising over Seokguram Grotto, and I think about Bulguksa Temple.
Yeah.
And when I was there, I was already studying architecture, so I used to draw all of the architecture to study it. And they would let me sleep. When they saw my drawings, they liked my drawings.
Yeah.
So they let me sleep in the temple.
Yeah.
So then I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the monks. And then I could see the sun rising in front of Seokgatap, for instance.
Oh.
And this is a very representative to me about that ancient connection with nature, with tradition that I found so beautiful in Korean architecture. So the architecture really has harmony with the mountain. And if you go to a place like Andong, Hae traditional village, I used to go there also and draw. The way that the village sits inside the river is very, very special. Everything fits into the shape of the nature instead of just making its own order on top. So I think for this Korean tradition, I think about what we say in Korean, Gangsan.
Karlsson.
Yeah, river and mountain. And all of the architecture is about finding some kind of deep connection with that Kang and that San. When I think about contemporary architecture, I think of Gangnam. I think about all of this crazy dynamic time in Korea, 1980s, 90s, 2000s, with just glowing signs everywhere, animated facades, K-pop, and really, really exciting, dynamic innovation. So really, I think that's something that I feel is a super contrast, especially in a culture that has, in such a short period, there has been so much change.
Yeah, just then, did you bring something in to show your old memories? And
Yes,
from your,
I did actually, and I was going to show you because this is the sketchbook that I was when I first arrived in Gyeongju. You can see 9th of August 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, so exactly 25 years ago, and it was my first time living in Korea after I was a small child, and so I was just drawing all of the things that I could see, and so these are those traditional elements, Korean pottery, you know, like the teapot, Korean doors. I found them so beautiful, and the way that doors are made, and then if you look in this. But then you have contemporary next
yeah.
Namjoon. Yeah, TV Buddha.
Yeah, TV Buddha. Yeah.
So it's already this contrast.
Yeah.
On one page is 도자기, and another one is 현대미술.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So for instance here, 서학서원, you know, looking at the traditional architecture, the space is always in relation to the trees in the background. The shape of the roof. I found these very, very beautiful. Also, the lightness of this architecture and then the heaviness of the roof. I feel this is also something that that really feels very special to me in Korean traditional architecture. And so here, again, in one of the Confucian academies here, Oksan Sewon near Gyeongju, you can see just the relationship, all of the individual care. So the detail is very, very interesting. And what I found really fascinating here, also Koreans, we are known maybe for many hundreds of years for something called 손재주.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we have like really, really good craftsmanship. So it comes all the way from pottery all into the architecture, and you see that in this traditional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just you just it is quite in your kind of very detailed kind of memories about Korean architecture in Gyeongju.
Yes.
Yeah, it is something of very Buddhist tradition,
Yeah.
and also some Joseon styles and a kind of temples is from, of course, in Silla and Goryeo, and some are kind of the traditions in Joseon all mixed, kind of in under the name of tradition. But I didn't think about the kind of the hand skills. I think that hand skills means very careful watching.
Yes.
Yeah, observing
Yes.
what is the beauty, what is the kind of Kang and San, or kind of river and mountain, what is the trees. I think it is a kind of very sensitive in nature and circumstances and peoples and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I was in Gyeongju, I had a teacher. I started to study some of the Korean traditional architecture, and I had a teacher who was a master carpenter. His name was Shin Young-hun.
Wow.
Yeah, and he used to take us around, and he would show all the details, what was important and why. And from that, I also learned some of these theories about what is that sensitivity of Korean aesthetic. So maybe it's something where it does not have to be the most aggressive, but you can still have confidence even within the flow of the nature. So when you look at the very representative Japanese temple structure, you see the top line very straight, perfectly straight. And in the Korean, always we have like just like this, the curve.
Yes,
And the same with the chama. So I think that for me, you could say that the approach is the same, that in Korea there is a curve, there's a softness, but then we go with the flow. So this to me is something, go with the flow of nature, but then contemporary, go with the flow of technology. So maybe there's something similar that we can say from the Gangsan into the Gangnam, now there's a new flow. There's a new wave of technology, AI, globalization, and Koreans are able to match with that. So it looks very different. Maybe it's more disconnected from nature in some ways, but then it connects to a different kind of flow that's coming. Yeah.
I like your words, the flow. It is flow from nature, a flow of the change, and I think it is quite good match the Korea wave.
Yes. Yeah.